term trades. I can't do it. It's too hard. So I got out of that and just started to scalp the New York sessions, and it's been great. Like 1 to 2 trades a day. And I typically focus on like the pound and gold. I don't really trade silver like that. I follow the price and I invest in it, but I don't ever trade it like that. So, but it has an 85% correlation to gold. So they move pretty much the same. So what I like to do here is I'll come in before the session and I'll look at where momentum's at, right? So it's just clearly to the downside. And what I'll do is I'll look for nice clean ranges in the market. So we have this is a 4-hour time frame. So we have obvious lows here. There's a clean. Let's stay muted. That's loud. So what I'll do is I'll find 4-hour ranges, right? So we have some lows here. And in between that, we have a nice clean 4-hour candle. So there's some nice, right here is a nice clean range. There's not a bunch of traffic. It's not noisy. So I like that. And the last 4-hour candle, it looks like retested some of this structure. It's going to close pretty bearish, and probably we're going to create a bigger wick to the downside. So what I'm going to do here is we have a clean range here. We have a clean range here. So what I'm going to do is wait for this hourly candle to close, which it did. So it closed rejecting the support. So what's going to happen is we're going to wait on 15-minute candles to close. And let's look at the 30-minute. 30 minutes, not bad. So what we'll do is we'll wait on 30-minute candles to close in 15 minutes. And what I want to see here is I want to see some price probably hold just below this, because what happens here is the way a trend works, right? Is when the market's pushing down like this, we'll create these high points, and then the market will move down and then create a lower high, and then it'll make a move down, create a lower high, make a move down, create a lower high, make a move down. I think we're just creating that lower high and possibly another lower high here. So what I want to see is this level really held, and then we'll wing it from there. We're going to wait for some candles to close more on the support. And kind of like I explained yesterday, I don't know, there might be some people in here don't know about the Telegram channel that I've been running just simply for silver updates. Come on, stay muted. It's so noisy when people unmute. And what I was talking about in there yesterday was I can pull it up possibly. Let me see. Because this is going to make a lot of sense to you guys when I explain it like this. What was it I said in there? I was talking about the silver price kept running into like 25.35. Remember? I said that it keeps bouncing into this and hitting its head on this. And it was this level here. It was this 25.35 level around here. And price kept smacking into it and smacking into it and smacking into it. And the way I like to view this is like a rock. If you skip it across the water, it keeps hitting the water. It eventually falls through. Most people would try to short this here, vice versa for the buys. The more something runs into a support, kind of like we're seeing on the pound, the more something runs into it, the more people buy it. I tend to try to do the opposite of that. I think the more something gets ran into, the weaker it gets, not the stronger it gets. So that is why I kind of just use that way of thinking, like, with some confluence with what I'm seeing on higher time frames. So some of this stuff takes, it's patience. We're on here at 7 a.m. I'll be up like 5:30, and then I'll just kind of see what the market's up to. Then, do my daily routine like in the morning, and then I'll come back around like 6:30, 6:40. I'll see what's happening. And then it's just letting things set up from there. And there's a few things I don't do. Like I was reviewing some things from last year, trading from last year, and I was comparing things to what I was going to do this year. And last year I anticipated a lot of things, and not that the anticipation killed me, not that Somebody's saying is their audio. Yeah, you should be able to hear all right. Let me turn my thing off. Yeah, you should be able to hear. But not that I was killed last year trading, but the anticipation could have reduced so many losses. And what I mean by that is if I see something, anticipation was lack of patience. It's kind of like a FOMO, like just fear of missing out. I wanted to be in the market. And so I was looking at some things I could change. And this was one way, like just scalping the New York sessions. I didn't have to anticipate breakouts. I could just trade the actual breakout. So I'm trading the fact, not, I guess the rumor. And that's helped me quite a bit. So this year for me has been a lot of scalping. Like with Biden, it was a lot easier with Trump. Like we could turn on tweet notifications, we could trade off of, the fundamentals were a lot easier to read last year. And I think this year the market's just a bit more choppy for me. I I'm not I can't gauge the direction long term like I could last year. So like last year we had some people who had some insane swing trades. Like some of these people were bagging, like Steven bagged like 1,500 pips or something and one gold trade off of, I threw out a long idea on gold. And I want to say that was back at like, if I go to a daily chart, like we were all the way back out here when he caught this and rode this thing up. Like it was insane. So just a lot easier market to trade last year. And if you go understand why the gold and silver have not been performing the way that they have in the past, was I try to look at it this way. Like I try to understand, why did the market explode to begin with to the upside? And then I understand that to the downside now, we're doing the exact opposite of what we were doing. So it makes complete sense. And until we see that kind of like this same environment happen over here, this explosion is not going to happen again. But I would have to think that the next reason that the metals run up isn't going to be because of stimulus. Sure, all these added things from what we've been seeing in the past, that they're going to feed and fuel it, but I think it's going to be more so the actual supply itself. I think we triggered something that is going to be a little bit unsustainable. So we'll see what happens. It could get pretty interesting here. We can go more in depth on silver and everything another day, but I'm really interested in this pound trade. So what I do here is like, I have everything ready to enter in my positions. And what I do is I already have a stop loss set, right? So when I play the break of something like this and I'm looking at a clean range, again, it's just nice clean candles over here. The market has obviously been dropping. So I don't want to fight that because it's like catching a falling knife. And the way I want to do this is I want to, ideally, I want to see some candles close to put pressure on the support. That way, when it's broken, it's a higher probability that the trade's going to go in my favor, right? So there's a few things trading this way that can happen, and I have to just sit on my hands and watch it. And it could be that this 15-minute candle breaks these lows and makes the run without me. And that's fine. I've seen that a million times, and I really don't have, I'm pretty impatient with stupid ideas, so I won't chase it. I could care less if it wants to go. Now, let's say that, kind of like yesterday, I had a scenario where price made an impulse, broke, and then sucked right back into the range. And the next 15-minute candle then broke that low. I'll trade the break of that low. There will be a nice melt off. You guys will understand when you see it. When you see it real time, it'll make more sense. Everything will make more sense. So right now I'm just being patient. If you don't know what like long and short is, long is just when you buy. When you buy something, you make the money going up. And then when you short something, you're betting that the market's going to drop. You make the money when it goes down. So you can make money both ways in the market. You don't have to just buy everything that you see. you can short things, make money on the short side. So like if I'm in on like metals long term on buys, I can trade this intraday noise around the core position. And I can be like, for me, I've been really on the short side of things, to the downside. Um, and occasionally some buys here recently. So I can have my core position and then trade around it with just intraday scalps that kind of keep things afloat. So there's just one way, there's another way to look at it. So this 15-minute candle is going to close here in 5 minutes. Every 15 minutes they close. So 4 minutes they're going to close. And this is closing pretty nice. So what I'm kind of seeing here now, that price is moving a bit, is we're breaking these supports. What I want to see is this high get held here. I want to see this high right here get held. And I want to see this support here get closed. I want to see this candle close below these support candles. These two support candles, I want to see this 15-minute close below them. And honestly, if we could close below this whole support right here with this candle, that would be really nice. This trade's going to set up nice today, probably. So we just got to be patient. Let these things, can't anticipate the breakout. Just got to be patient. Understand where we're going, higher time frames to the downside, nice clean range. Check the hourly. Hourly's nice. So we'll see what happens here. And then we're anticipating, right? 12 minutes ago, New York session kicked in. So we're anticipating that the New York volume is going to, all of these people trading this morning are going to drive this price to the downside. Gold and silver started out, they were running up this morning. See, I wanted to trade gold, but it's just not in my plan. It's too early for it. I would have liked to trade this break of these highs into this clean range over here and catch the buys on this. This would have been a nice move. This is like 30 pips over here, but it's too early for me. Yeah, the pound is going to be nice, I think. I don't even think I want to trade gold today. So I'm just going to be focused on the pound. Now, looking at the dollar, just in regards to gold, I've kind of talked about this long term, I like to track the long term, I like to track the higher time frame, like price action on the dollar. Because if you look at the dollar, like on a daily, it's just been running kind of straight down, and then we've had a bounce in the daily. And if you go look at like silver or gold on the daily, they've had a long-term run up and a bounce on the daily to the downside. So I like to just track, what is the dollar doing short term, higher time frame, but it kind of gives me an idea of when and where gold and silver are going to go and when they're going to break, kind of idea. So the dollar's just holding a support here right now. If this gets broken today, then I think the metals are going to see a nice run to the upside. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the dollar today just to see what the price action's like. So this is really like this isn't an in-depth talk about investments, anything like that. This is just simply how I trade when anybody is watching, when they aren't watching. This is what I do every morning. Pretty boring process, honestly. The more boring it gets, the more I know I'm doing, something right. It should be pretty boring the whole time. If you're sweaty and having too much fun with it, chances are it's, you're probably just gambling. So we're just still holding on to the support here. I see there's some more people getting on. What we're looking at here is I'm looking to trade the pound short today. There's a nice clean range down here. Price has been dropping off. A higher time frame, we've been running into a lot of noise up here too. Yeah, there's a ton of rejection up here on the weekly. If I had to guess, maybe the pound is going to come fill into this weekly wick here. So that makes a lot of sense. This daily candle's pretty clean, back down to like 149.909. So that runs in confluence with our 4-hour range. 4 hours pretty bearish, creating a nice rejection wick here, nice clean range. Same thing on the hourly. We're just really trying to look for some better lower time frame closes right now. 30-minute, 15 or 2, or we're holding on to this support too much. We'll be able to notice when it's happening, right? When we start to break this support here and a candle closes below this on a 15-minute or 30-minute. So the next 15-minute candle is going to open, in 14 minutes. And between now and then, I have to consider now we're 20 minutes into the session. The price action looks good to go short. And what I have to consider here is if this candle were to start breaking the low, I may have to consider finding a 1-minute low after it's broken and trading the break of that 1-minute low, because at this point the value might be there to push price down. So we'll see. We'll be able to notice when it's happening. It's pretty clear. And you notice there's not like, I don't have a ton of indicators on here. I don't have a ton of nonsense. Like, you don't need any of that stuff. Yeah, so I'm just waiting on the break. I'll let you know like more in detail how I enter when I enter. But essentially what happens is I take a short position on the break of the low and I set a stop up into that range. So these ranges are typically like, yeah, I'll have an overall target of like 21 pips to the downside. But what happens here is I really manage things on a 1 minute because I'm super impatient with the drawdown. Like I'll have 2% risk on this trade and I have a stop loss that I can lose 2%. But if what I'll do is if it starts to break back up into my range, I'll close early so I don't lose the full 2%. But whenever we start to break to the downside, once we start to make a nice impulse move to the downside, I'll set my stops at break even. And that way I'm more risk free. And I can try to let the trade make a nice impulsive move to the downside. And then I'll cover some money on that impulse. It'll become more clear, like all this terminology and everything when I'm actually in it. But yeah, essentially what happens is I read on the 4-hour and the daily. I understand where we're going on a higher time frame, and then I find clean ranges on the 4-hour to trade. I just trade with the current momentum, and then I wait for my 30-minute and 15-minute to set up in my favor, and then on the break of the specific low into the range, I trade the break. So you'll know when it gets a little bit closer. What I'm looking for right now is this 15-minute to, it closes here in 10 minutes, just about 11 minutes. I'm looking for it to break and hold underneath the support. And then once a candle closes down here, that's when I know, okay, that this support's being violated and the break of this wick over here is probably going to signal this trade to sell off pretty decent. So it's really just, it's a lot of patience, honestly. That's the biggest part. And I'll give it like probably, I'll give this trade, like if I lose it, I'll give it one more chance. But I don't sit and just chase it over and over and over. Like I don't just keep entering and keep entering and keep entering. Once I lose once or twice, that's it. And I'll typically lose less than, on both trades, I'll typically lose less than 2%. Maybe like 1% I'll lose because I'll very impatient with the drawdown. I'll close pretty early. So like yesterday, I had a buy on gold And I'll show you how fast this stuff is. So here's an example, right? I had clear range above these highs here. There was a nice 15-minute candle that broke through this range. And I knew that gold was going to run back up into these highs here. And as soon as this 15-minute high was broken by the next 15-minute, I hit a buy and it ran up like 13 pips within like probably 30 seconds. The trade was over. So typically I sit and wait like 2 hours sometimes. And then the trade is over within, you know, my trades are no longer than a couple minutes, 1 to 2 to 3. What is somebody said I just hit target one of my GC long? What does that mean? What's GC? You talking about like GBP CHF? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I there's some like futures and things like that. There's some things I know what I know and then I don't know what I know. And I'm okay with admitting that. I don't There's a lot of things in the market people talk about. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea. I just do what I do every day. That's it. Just come in and do the same thing literally over and over again. It gets so repetitive. I mean, I expected this surge in oil this year too. And honestly, with oil this year, it's looking like I wouldn't be surprised if these daily lows are broken before we do it, but it's it is holding on to this daily support. I had a range on a higher time frame, like a monthly. I wouldn't be surprised if oil this year doesn't go higher, like $95 a barrel. Under Trump, I wouldn't have thought that. I didn't think that, which is why we see negative oil prices. But with Biden, I'm not surprised. Bitcoin's been having a big sell-off too recently. So the only things that I trade interest there, the only thing that I trade intraday is literally the same thing. I'll trade scalp gold and I'll scalp GJ, the pound yen. That's it. I won't trade anything else. This 15-minute candle is going to close in 7 minutes. And again, like I explained, now we're seeing that this high is locked in. So now on lower time frames, like on a 5 minute, we're going to be breaking these lows again, closing down on the support level here. So it's pretty obvious now that, again, this high is locked in. We held this level. That's going to be my high I work with here today. I really don't want to see that violated. What I want to see is price just hold on to this high here and start to close down on the support here. And then I will short this at the break of this. And yeah, I'll explain everything when I enter, when I exit, everything. This overall range is going to be about 20 pips, but I won't hold the whole range. Depending on how fast and how big my impulsive move is, I'll get out on it because I'm scalping these, right? And again, the one thing that I look back hindsight from last year, 2020 to 2021, like what did I want to change and need to change in my trading? And it was anticipation. Like, yeah, I can anticipate this whole range being filled, but what I'm not going to do is hold on to it and then get hit at break even or hold on to it and not make money. I just am not going to do that. It's stupid. Somebody, you kind of trade like wicks don't lie. Your that's who I started trading under was the Forex family. Long time ago. This was like probably 4 or 5 years ago. I used to, so but remember before we launched no risk, before we launched no risk, York, you remember I used to scalp the London sessions on the Zooms like this, the same way. But then I got into more into swing trading and holding trades longer. And I got away from trading like this. And then I realized last year some things I needed to change. I stopped trading the whole month of December because the market kind of dies down. You have like firms wrapping things up for the end of the year. Then you have all the holidays. So I took time off too. And I realized something that I needed to change. And then I knew the environment we were going into with the potential Biden win. I was like, yeah, this swing trading is not going to be as clean or as clear. So I'm just not going to do it. So I really changed a lot from last year to this year, and it's for the better. And I'm glad like there's not an ego in the way or, things like that. I can get pretty ignorant with myself sometimes, like stubborn, kind of stuck in the way. And that's one thing this year I did not want to do. So we're doing just as we expected. Everything's going just as expected. Again, if I had to guess, this 15-minute candle that's going to close in 4 minutes, it's going to close below the support level, this support level here. It's going to close below this. And then our next 30-minute candle, right? So the timing is everything too. You have to realize that every 99% of these candles have wicks on both sides. You see, these tails are called wicks. So 90% of these candles have wicks on both the upside and the downside. The timing is important on candles, and the higher the time frame, the more important it gets. So like the 4 hour is going to open in 30 minutes. I know that when this 4 hour opens in 30 minutes at 8 a.m. and we make a run to the downside, chances are that 4 hour candle is going to retrace and make its top wick and then continue to drop, creating its bottom wick. Same thing for the hourly, right? On the more significant candles, the more significant it is and the more important it is. So on the 30-minute candle, right, if we close below the support level here, as we anticipate, the next 30-minute candle, what I want to see happen is the candle open up, push back up to create a top wick, and then as we drop to create the bottom wick and break this low, that's what's going to give us that big bottom wick, like one of these candles here. So the timing of these candles too, there's kind of a lot that goes into all of this, but at the same time, it's pretty repetitive and pretty simple. And honestly, if you just take the time, like 1 to 2 trades a day, 3 trades a day in the morning like this, nothing crazy. You're not going like 6 trades, 15 different pairs, nothing like that. If you just give it time, like, I mean, within a few months, just the same repetitive thing over and over, you'll understand the patterns. You'll see them so easy. It's pretty simple. And I can typically take a few losses in a week, and it's whatever. I mean, I think I even, let me just look here in my history. I think like yesterday I traded some pound sells, I traded some gold buys, and I took some losses on pound sells that were like literally 0.2%. And I have risked on each trade, I risked 2%. So my losses are like nothing. Occasionally I'll get one, like if the market moves too fast, I'll get one that, might be a 1.5% or something, but I'm pretty impatient with losers. I don't like them. So it looks like gold and silver holding on to the gains. So for me, like we'll have this New York session open at 7 a.m. Central, right? And what I'll do is I know that there's volume around 7 a.m. And then I also know that there's volume around 8:30 in the morning my time, because equities, the stock market, the New York Stock Exchange opens at 8:30, and that'll typically pump a little more volume into the market as well. So like getting around 7:30, right? We still wicked off of this support, nothing closed breaking this. So I understand that I'm in a high volume time right now. And what's probably going to have to happen is I don't think we'll be able to wait for another 30-minute candle. The next 15-minute candle will open at 7:45. So this one closes at 7:45. And if the lower time frames look good and we start to close below these support levels here, we may end up taking this trade before the next 15-minute candle. Right now, I can see, we've obviously been just sitting in a range. There's no volume right now. So the market's just been sitting there consolidating. But that's healthy too. Like people get worried about these kind of things. Like look when a market makes an impulse one direction. I've explained this before too. When you get a big impulse to the downside, right? So big impulse here, and then the market comes and it sits for a minute. It kind of is like taking a breather. It sits, then you have another big impulsive move. Then the market sits for a minute and then it has another big impulsive move, right? So these are all normal things. And this is like gold and silver on a higher time frame too. If you go look on like a weekly or a monthly, silver makes a lot of sense. You see this. There's a huge impulsive move right here. And then there's just big consolidation in here. So the market's just consolidating. That's healthy. What you don't want is parabolic moves that become unsustainable. Like if you go look at Bitcoin back in on the daily, like these big runs to the upside that really don't have any consolidation in them to let it rest and be healthy, there's a big sell-off right after it. Like every single time. It just becomes, more unsustainable. So pretty slow market right now. And now that I have a let me see something here. I have a bias on the pound this morning. So I want to short this when it breaks. And if it does not break down and we just sit all morning until, I don't trade anymore in my times. What's up, Steven? I just simply won't trade it. It's pretty much that simple. I won't trade it. Say it like what I mean by that is say that it starts to retrace and break to the upside and violates my ideas and plans. I don't chase it. I leave it alone. There's too much momentum to the downside here to trade this to the upside. Like for me to buy this would be just stupid. I'm not buying that. It's like catching a falling knife is the way I explain it. It's not going to happen. Not doing it. So this 30-minute candle here, we're starting to see it push back down. So the next 15-minute candle is going to close at 7:45. So we have a little bit. We just got to be patient, wait and see. I'm gonna pull something up. I'm going to look at something here. So Canada has another shutdown going on. They're shutting schools down and letting big businesses stay open. Pretty stupid. So this is funny. Some of you guys that are on here know that I had this up not long ago on the pound. There's a website I look at, and this is like, these are brokers, and I can see the average long and short positions of their clients. And I like to track that because there's a few things I like to look at. When something is heavily weighted to one side, I typically know that a lot of people suck at trading, and that's just the truth. So what I like to do is I like to look for something that's heavily weighted on one side. Like there's nothing. Okay, so AUD JPY is 60% short right now. Let's just look at it. Dang, they're actually oh, the daily's actually pretty has been pretty bullish. So if I had to guess, that number is just coming down. I'll explain what I mean. Like on GJ, we watched on the daily, we watched this thing run all the way up and up and up and up and up. And we were on the long side of this. But yet when we came in here and looked at the clients' short positions, like, dude, that back then there was 70% of clients were all short while this thing was just making a huge run to the upside. It was insane. So I like to go in there and look at just see what kind of people are getting absolutely destroyed. And I typically like to stay away from that number. So this number was 70%. And now that the trade is actually, now that the pound is actually selling off, now everyone's getting out. So these numbers are funny because you literally sit and watch it do the exact opposite every single time. It's hilarious. Nothing's heavily weighted right now though. It's pretty even. Yeah, everything is just coming off of heavily weighted numbers, I can tell. Sometimes I'll look at that. Yeah, somebody says when I used to trade Forex, I remember GBP NZD was quite volatile. Yeah, GBP. Now, some cross pairs on the currencies, they don't pay full on a standard. So, like a standard on GN, which this thing looks like it's about to melt off this morning. Like just this drop here was 40 pips. It's fairly volatile, but the reason I don't like it is it doesn't pay full on a standard. I think it pays like $6.40 on a standard. So I don't like to trade it really. Okay, so now look at this price action on the pound. This is looking nice. So if we look on the 5 minute, it's this 5 minutes going to close in 3 minutes. Now, what I'm probably going to do here, considering we're in a high volume time, is when we break this low, I am going to let's just see here. When we break this low, I am going to anticipate that this 1 hour candle, when we break this low here, is going to continue to fill this clean 4 hour range that we have picked out here. So yeah, when that low breaks, I am going to short this and I'm going to be very impatient and I'll give it 2 chances today. And what I mean by impatient is like I'm in this trade, and if it trades back into this range by like 3 or 4 pips, I'll close and I'll wait for reentry because I know this thing's going to have a meltdown. I'm not going to miss the move, and this might not happen just yet. We are kind of starting to move. So now we're really breaking down into this range here. And what I like to do is I like to look like my entry is 150.141, and now I'm at break even. So I'm already in the money on this trade. I'm already at break even. And if this thing is going to continue now, we're going to have a low here. And what should happen is we might see a little retracement, but I want to see this low get broken and the price just absolutely melt off. And if we can get a nice impulse out of this, like another like 5 pips or so, I'll close my full position and bag the money. So these things happen. So I've explained it over and over again. Nah, I don't use a sell stop. I just execute. You can use a sell stop when you get that close. That way you don't miss it. So my entry was 150.141, like right here. So my stop was like up here in the range, but I'll never let my full stop get hit. My overall target is down here, but like if it starts to run like 10 pips in profit, I'm already at break even. If it starts to run 10 pips in profit, I'll I'll close the trade. Hopefully it doesn't come up and hit me at break even. I want this thing just to continue to drop from here. So I think when we break this 1 minute low here, we're going to get a nice impulse that drops this down to my first target. Yeah, this clean, there's a nice clean 4 hour range here. This thing should at some point today, I don't know if it'll be now. I think if we break this low, we start to see the first meltdown. Then maybe the next 4 hour candle, we see the rest later today. But I would like to think that this thing is gonna rip this range here. This 4 hour range right here is really nice for price to continue like down to this support here. So pretty big retracement here. I got knocked at break even. So the way I play this now, right? So I'm out of the trade, I'm hit at break even. And what happens here is now I'll just focus on these lows here. And what I kind of want to see now is a bigger retracement pulling all the way back up. And then I'll wait on these lows to break and I'll hit the trade one more time. So we'll see what happens here. Hopefully we can retrace on this 15-minute candle. The next 15 minutes going to open in 3 minutes. So hopefully the next one, this one stays up here. The next one opens, retraces to create a top wick. And when it drops to break this low on this 15-minute and create a bottom wick, I'll short it again at the break of that 1 minute low. So hopefully we see this price hold on to this low here. These trades, typically everything happens like pretty fast. So you got to be ready for things. This trade's going to melt off without us, I think. That's okay. If it doesn't do exactly what I want it to do, that's fine too. Yeah, someone asked if I got stopped out. I got hit at break even. I took another more aggressive entry, but I wanted everyone to get a better entry on the next 15-minute. So that's okay. It'll be all right. At least you guys get to see, real time everything. It's pretty interesting. So like it's funny because this thing came back up, the spread hit me at my entry at break even and then just melted off. So like, overall that thing did make its 10 pip drop that I wanted. And yeah, that's just the name of the game. Not everything's perfect, and I'm not going to chase everything. I'm not going to try to chase it the whole way down. If it doesn't do some of the things that I want, then I just leave it alone. So that's that. And if I have to go like a day of just not trading, then I just go a day of not trading. The right tomorrow, same time, same everything. So this 15-minute candle is going to close here. So we close with like a 15-minute wick right here at this low. Now the next one's going to open up. Yeah, see how it's creating a wick to the upside like we talked about. So it's doing what we talked about. The 4-hour range, there's still a little bit left in there. It's not a ton of range left. So it's creating this 15-minute, like we talked about. I said I wanted to see it open and create a wick to the upside. Now, if it can drop and leave that wick to the upside as rejection, like somewhere in here, and break this 15-minute low, like here really soon within the next few minutes, that is an opportunity for a second chance if you got knocked at break even or whatever. So like when I enter here, right, and then this come up and hit me at break even, what I like to do is wait for that next candle to open, which it did. It's creating its wick to the upside now. Once it rolls back to the downside and breaks that low, I'll give it one more chance. And that next 15-minute then should have a nice impulsive move to the downside. And once it has its move, I set that at break even as well. And I try to let it make my move. And if it comes back and hits me at break even, that's okay. There's always tomorrow, next week, next month, everything. So you could see that 15 minutes leaving that wick, starting to drop again. So we'll watch on the 1 minute. If this 1 minute low starts to break again, this thing should melt off again pretty nice. Nah, I don't re-enter off of retest. I don't enter off of retest. I wait for the market to break back out in my favor again. So like if I was anticipating the market to pull up and retest, then continue to then break the low and drop off, I let that be confluence and like reassurance. And I don't enter until we break the low. I don't enter on retracements at all because I never know when the market's going to stop retracing. That's the thing. I can anticipate areas or whatever, but I never know. No one knows. But I do know that, okay, if this thing were to hold this resistance, and let's say the next candle or two were to break this low, I do know that that would be my high, and that break of this low would be my entry again. So who knows, like this thing could hold on to this support then and make 100 pip run to the upside, which is why I don't trade pullbacks or retracements, whatever. All the same thing. So gold and silver both just kind of holding on to a support. The dollar's having some bearish momentum here, selling off. The pound, we're bearish, but we're waiting on our reentry. So yeah. So what happened here on the pound was we broke into this 4-hour range that we anticipated. And I thought that, well, I just did what I do every day. Once we broke the low, I just set my trade to break even. And the new 15-minute candle opened, or right before it, the trade melted off like 6 pips and then it retraced and the spread hit my position at break even. What that means is I didn't lose anything, but I didn't make anything. And so now what I do is wait for my reentry. And again, I time it with candles opening. So this 750 right now, this 15-minute candle opened 5 minutes ago. I really want to see it hold down low in here and build a resistance somewhere. Then once it starts to break this previous 15-minute low, I'll enter short again to then let my trade, have a second chance. So a lot of patience. I'm not trading anything up here. I don't trade when the market pulls back. I don't buy whenever it's going back up. I stick to my original idea and it either plays out or I come back tomorrow and find a new setup. It's that simple. I'm not taking a million trades. I'm not chasing while it's retracing, nothing like that. Someone says, I'm in, UCAD sells. Nice. When did you get in those? Because within the last hour, it already dropped, 26 pips. So when did you get in those, Steven, the UCAD cells?
April 7th around 10 o'clock.
10 in the morning or night?
I think it was the morning. Let me check.
Yeah, so you're up a few pips. What are you up, like 30-ish pips or something?
Yeah, I already took some money off the table though.
Nice,
I'm at break even now.
There you go.
I sold it from last week's high because last week was really bearish.
Yeah, that's the way to do it there. Ooh, man, you know what? If this trade would have just dropped that 10 pips without this little pullback that added the spread that hit me at break even, I would have cashed out on this trade. It would have hit the 10 pips that I expected. So now, this is why I don't trade pullbacks, because I don't know when the pullback's going to end. So now I know that at 7:52 at 8 a.m., there's a new 4-hour candle. And this 4-hour candle is going to close really bearish. So maybe what will have happen is the new 4-hour candle is going to push up to create a top wick. Then when it goes down to break the previous 4 hours wick, there will be a nice sell-off on the next 4-hour candle as well. So again, just patience. We're waiting for the low to break again. We don't care how high it pushes up. We're not trading buys on it. I don't just switch back and forth. Pretty boring waiting game, honestly. Not a lot of people have the patience for it. This is why a lot of people just explode when they're trading. They just chase everything, enter stupid positions. So just got to be patient. What we're having right now, let's see, gold and silver is still pushing up. What we're seeing right now is this thing's making a retracement, which this is nice. I'm okay with this. This is gonna be nice because overall, right, what we have here, we still have big bearish momentum to the downside, right? From the daily, we have big bearish momentum. We still have the rest of this clean range to fill back down to this 4-hour support. So there's still room to move to the downside. And what we're seeing right here is just a little rejection in here. And what's probably going to happen is price is going to retrace back into this level somewhere in here. And when that new 4-hour candle opens, we're going to see it create a top wick like I talked about. And then once we start to see price break this bottom wick, that's when the volume is going to kick in to melt off. And anyways, if it doesn't today at all, right, it's okay. I entered one trade, got hit at break even. I explained everything, broke everything down. So you guys got to see real time market marked up, a market called, entry called, got hit at break even, but still, there's not a lot of people that can even do that. Now we just gotta be patient here. I think I'm gonna do another session in the morning as well. I'll have another trading session in the morning probably. Man, the dollar's melting today. Yeah, the dollar's having a hard time today. It's nice. Good to see. See, and this is why when I enter, I don't hold on to anything. Like if the volume is there and the trade's gonna move, then it's gonna move. If the volume isn't there and it doesn't move, then I'm gonna hold on to the trade. Then I'm gonna get stuck in this drawdown. Then it could run up. Then I gotta close a loss, blah, blah, blah. Right. So as soon as my trade starts to break out and really looks like volume is in my favor, I just set it at break even. It cleans up the emotions a lot better. I don't have to be all emotional about it. Because imagine if I was still in this trade from the break of this wick here. If I didn't put it at break even, like I would now be sitting in drawdown and the trade would be running against me. Then I would have to sit there and worry about that. And how am I going to manage this? And when am I going to close? Blah, blah, blah. So it's just a lot easier that I understand higher time frame where I'm going. I understand, my lower time frame entries. It's the same thing every day. I understand that when we break out and the volume's in my favor, that's what I want, right? And when it retraces and hits me break even, that's fine. I'm all right with that. I'll take it every single day. Someone says, do I own physical silver? I own a silver mine. I am a silver mine. Not a silly question. See, to me, it's physical silver all day. So my family's been my grandpa was trading silver back in the 60s, and I think it was in the 80s when the price exploded quite a bit, and he made quite a bit of money. My family's been in the market for a long time. My dad's been in there 35 years now. 30 years, 35 years. Longer than that, maybe. See, now for the people that anyway, just found your info. Please provide research. I can become more knowledgeable. Thank you. I use NinjaTrader. I use their automated trade management. Set my stop targets, break even, trail it. Yeah, that's nice. I've never heard of NinjaTrader. I'll have to check that out. Um, I'm new. Just found your info. Myra, did you get it out of the Telegram channel? Maybe you came from Telegram. See, now the new 4-hour candle opened, right? So this new 4-hour candle opened and we still closed pretty bearish on this candle. What I want to see is this 4-hour candle push up to create a top wick. And then when we break this previous candle's low, I think that this trade is a good idea for a second chance. And we can trade it again. And if not, again, we don't chase, we don't have to worry about it. So you came from the Telegram, Myra, and what's happening is we're gonna have a few more couple live streams a week like this. So you'll be able to learn resources. There's a couple inside of the Telegram. Like I share, there's some daily things that I listen to, such as Kitco that's in there. There's another podcast in there as well. Let me see what's in there. Kitco's in there, and then you have, I think there was one. Yeah, Palisades Gold is in there. You can look at that. Just keep up with the Telegram. I'll drop things as like everyone continues to learn and things like that. I'll drop a little more. I drop some charts every day, things like that. Yeah, Chat with Traders is a good one too. You can really hear some good interviews on there. Chat with Traders is such a good trading podcast. Chat with Traders is a legit trading podcast. Like big firm owners, everyone, pretty much everyone they bring on there is multi 6-figure traders. These aren't some like, Instagram kids that they bring on. It's pretty legit. But for the people who stick around, like there's a lot of people that get impatient after a trade, after a trade doesn't work out or something. A lot of people will get impatient. The second trade will come like 80% of the time. So then they'll get off and then miss, the second one that works out pretty well. But there will be quite a bit of break-even trades. That's just the way it goes. The second chances are normally the better ones. And even then, you can take some losses and get hit at break even again. It's all a part of the game. Yeah, thanks for dropping. Someone dropped the channel. Uh-oh. I got a bird, and the bird's awake now. He's upstairs yelling. He's funny. I've got a bird and a couple of Great Danes. So when they get to barking, he barks too with them. He's pretty funny. I hope you guys can't hear him. What's up, Nate? Nate's in here. So pretty slow right now. Again, gold and silver is shooting up. We anticipated that. I mean, it's no surprise. We've been following that all week. We've been bullish on it. I've been dropping all the updates. No surprise there. What I really want is this 30-minute candle now to break this low and us to get another nice meltdown so I can make some money today and be done. That's what I want. This happens often though. I see this kind of pattern in the market all the time. But sometimes when we break out like this on my anticipated move, it will just melt off, which is why I don't wait for this setup, the second setup, right? It's just a lot easier to take the trade. Then when it starts to fall in my favor, I can just set it at break even and leave it alone. And then if it hits me like this one did at break even, then I can hit the second chance. And that typically has some good volume in it. So just, know your market, know what's going on. Man, gold and silver are ripping right now. The dollar must be melting. Yeah, it's falling off pretty nice today. Bitcoin's bouncing too. So like on my last silver update, let me pull that up. Right, so on the last silver update, there was I updated a 4-hour chart on silver. I spoke about 4-hour chart on silver. 24.85 was a support level down here. I talked about how 24.85 was a support level for the week that I was expecting. There was nice bullish momentum on yesterday's New York session off of that. I want to see that support held. I want to see price push back into the 25.35 level. And I explained the whole rock thing, right? Let me check GJ one more time to make sure it's not leaving. But I explained the whole rock idea, skipping a rock across the water, that once something pounds or keeps hitting its head or keeps hitting a support or resistance, the weaker it gets to me. So this here I knew would break this week. And I stated that in the update. You can see here, here's the update. We talked about it in here. I like to think about support and resistance a little different, talk about the rock skipping across water, eventually falls through. I said as price hits something multiple times, there's a higher chance of it popping through. And if we keep seeing price hit the 25.35 level, it's going to break and run a 25.80, right? I had the whole chart marked up. Now I'll go look at price. Right? We kept hitting 25.35, price popped through, 25.80 is pretty likely to happen. And this isn't easy right away, right? I'm not going to come in here and act like everything's super simple and just trading is a super easy game. It's not bad. I've just put in thousands of chart hours, literally. There's been days learning how to trade where I've sat in front of charts for 20 hours straight and just watched the price action, watched market behavior, things like that. I got to really understand a few things, and man, this thing, every time I hit back, it keeps. So yeah, I mean 25.80s, yeah, that's gonna happen. So that 24 or 24.85 was held as expected. Now we're making runs to the upside as expected. 25.80, not far out of the picture. Just up here. Yeah, for the ones who if you have interest in the market, interest in trading, this and that, you stick around for a while, you'll learn quite a bit. I don't know it all, but I know what I know what I do. So and again, there will be people that ask me things. There's going to be people that also just are miserable with themselves, that don't want anyone else to do good, that you've got to deal with those kind of people that are just negative people. It all comes when you put yourself out in the public. That's what comes along with it. So I don't ever pay attention to that. I don't really care, because at the end of the day, none of that changes anything that I do. With or without anyone, I wake up every morning and do the same thing. I don't need anyone. But I enjoy the market. I enjoy helping people. It's fun. Yeah. Black pillars. Do I ever look at XRP? No, I don't. Honestly, I had money in crypto from years ago, like probably 4 years ago, in Bitcoin buys that I pulled out. I don't trade it. I don't actively trade it intraday. I don't trade. No, I don't even know. I don't really know much about it. I don't know much about blockchain. I don't know. It looks bullish. Bitcoin looks bullish. If I had to guess, people hate these things. And honestly, it's a lot of I think, because I talk to my dad about it a lot. he's older. A lot of older people can't grasp the idea of being innovative and just the idea of Bitcoin. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to, you don't need it, right? A lot of, and it just tends to be a lot of older people. Younger people are used, they grew up with technology, they grew up with more innovation, they grew up with um things that the news saying in the market or in the economy and things like that is like, um I guess the way to word this would be, uh man, how could I even word this? Everything is like breaking, I guess, old normal traditions. And when I hear a lot of older like firm owners and this and that talk about it, I think they failed to understand like a younger generation and younger thoughts, more innovative ideas, and it kind of hurts them in a way. Honestly, people can't really grasp onto these things. So I don't know. It's weird to explain it. Like uh, everyone says, like, "Oh, this isn't normal." Well, this isn't normal is the new normal. All kinds of things are happening, right? Like, who would have even thought that Biden was going to actually win the election? So everything that people don't think is going to work or think is going to happen, it typically just doesn't. It is what it is. That's why I don't get emotional about anything. I don't get emotional about politics. I don't get emotional about this or that, because in the end of the day, if it doesn't happen the way I want, if it does not happen the way that I want it to, then I'm sitting there all like pissed off, blah blah blah. I'd rather just worry about how I can make money off of everything and worry about the rest later. Now I have my ideas, right? There's a lot of odd things in this world that have happened over the last year. I do think, as where some people would consider it like conspiracies and this and that, I do have thoughts and interest in some of those ideas, and I keep my mind open on everything, right? Whether it's a conspiracy or not. And I understand what can happen with these kind of ideas, but until they come to fruition, like, I don't put my sweat and blood and tears into it, because and if these things don't work out, then you're just sitting there all disappointed. And yeah, I don't feel like doing that. I understand a lot, but I don't get emotional about any of it. Just like the market, like I get it, but I don't want to get emotional about it. And this thing is moving so slow. But it's nice. We made a nice that bearish move. We're sitting here in this range now. So price is just consolidating. Hopefully some volume will kick back in here and we'll break this low for a second chance. If not, by 9 o'clock in about 40 minutes. Man, I hope you guys cannot hear that bird. Can you guys hear my bird screaming at me or no? I hope not. He gets impatient. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I think it's when I talk that it triggers the background noise, but if not, and I don't talk, you can't hear him. Hold up. I, I have an idea. I'm going to step away for just a minute, but don't go anywhere. I'll be gone for like 1 minute. Okay, so I just put that guy somewhere else. So I did not have to hear that anymore. Yeah, I have pictures of him on my Instagram too. He does speak English. He's pretty funny for real. He does all kinds of silly stuff. Man, we might not get the second opportunity here. So might just be a break even day and that could be it. You know, if gold would have done this at this time, this same price action, I would have traded the buys on gold, honestly. We we're still kind of pulling into this level though, so we might we might get this trade. We'll see. If it does not happen within the next 40 minutes, I won't. I'll be done. I'm done by 9 a.m. my time every single day. I would think that this thing starts to turn around here soon and come back down. My IG name is just Thad Castle. Thad underscore two underscores. I'll type it in. Underscore two of them. Some people know what that's from. Some people don't. It's pretty stupid name. A lot of waiting here. A lot of waiting. Patience. 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 Yeah, the birds are pretty cool. The only thing I guess that I could say I, in a way, don't like is that this thing will outlive me. So it's gonna have to find a different owner at some point. Man, I still think this thing's gonna fill the rest of this range. I still think this has another 15 pips to drop. Yeah, the cockatoos, they're called the Velcro bird. So that's an umbrella cockatoo. And they are needy. It's like having a child. I'm not really sure what that's like, but if I had to assume, it's probably the same thing, if not worse. US 30 buy. Let's take a look at your chart. I'm not really into the idea of the buys, but let's see here. I mean, I like that it took out these lows here, but it's just too bearish right now. Just straight to the downside. It looks to me like, broke these 1 hour supports here, fill this 1 hour wick back down to the support. That's a nice clean range. I don't know. I don't trade it enough to know how the price action moves. Oh, GJ. Are you going to set up for us again today or not? Man, I really just want to see this thing top out here and then push back onto the support, break it, get the trade in, and be done. Big, boring game. Big, boring game. This is why if you don't have patience in this game, you're going to blow up. Yeah, so somebody says join a bit late, go over the chart pretty much. So what I like to do is trade the pound, yen, and gold. Everything else you see like silver, I just track for the price. I don't actually trade it. I just invest in it. Bitcoin, I have it up here just to track the price. I don't trade it. S&P, same thing. The DXY is the dollar. Oil, I just track it. I don't really trade it. But what I like to do is come in before the session. So before this session, right, we had this 4 hour candle here. And what I like to do is find clean ranges. So below this 4 hour support here is 1 4 hour clean range. And what I like to do is find structure, in this case, bearish structure, that lines up with when we break into this range, will we fill this clean range? High probability, yes. So what happened here earlier was we saw the price action, right? Price topped out here. We created a lower high. We started to break this low here. We actually short this trade. We actually short this earlier right here when those lows broke. And once price melted off, like price made its move down to this support, we set the trade at break even. And when it retraced, it hit me at break even with some spread. So, and then it finished making the move to the target that we anticipated. So it was a scratch trade. It was break even today. Nothing. We're waiting for a second chance on this. And yeah, so it goes a lot more, in depth from daily to the 4 hour to the 1 hour. But ideally, I like to find a clean range and then find structure that breaks into that range and trade it. Bottom line, we executed one, got hit a break even. Now we're trying to see if we can give it a second chance when this low breaks, but I don't know if it's going to. So yeah, so how I have this 4 hour channel here on gold, this 4 hour zone, you can see it's nice clean range, right, on this 4 hour candle. And price broke into here and tried filling up into that range. Then pulled back on New York session and then ended up breaking the high of gold again and then continuing to fill the range. So that is an idea. And I think that if this wick here gets broken on gold, that gold is probably going to continue to rip even harder. that might be my second chance trade I'm willing to take, because there's still 4-hour wicks up here to get filled. So there's a rejection here. And above that wick, right, would be a nice clean range in here that would be probably 20 pips. So yeah, I mean, if this 15-minute wick gets broken, gold's probably going to fill the rest of this range. And that's something I'm going to watch, because now we have to look at gold coming into this session. Somebody asked, what's 1 pip? Like, this price movement from like this candle here to literally like a quarter of it is 1 pip. 1 pip's pretty small in gold. Yeah, 1 pip. Yeah, it's pretty small. A pip is just a measurement of movement in the market. You might hear people who trade stocks call it a tick. Same things, really. But we can see that gold's been pushing up, forming a support, pushing up, forming a support, pushing up, forming a support, pushing up again. So the clear momentum here is to the upside. Thursday is typically a high volume day as well, so it makes sense. So GJ's coming back down now. Hopefully we can pick up another trade there as our second entry. And again, I think that when gold breaks into this range here, the break of this 15-minute wick, it's going to fill into this clean 4-hour range over here. It should make an impulse out of there, like probably 15 pips relatively quick. And then like the way I take these trades is I would go long when that wick breaks, and then I would have a stop loss that's like 8 pips down in the range. My target long term would be the full range. But again, after it makes its impulse, I put it break even and let it run. And the way I manage it is if the trade starts to pull back into the range at all, I just close before my full 2% is taken, because I'll risk 2% on those trades. I never let the full stop loss get hit unless the market just moves incredibly fast. Like, I never let it get hit. Market is slow right now, though. So 8:30 here now. The new 30-minute candle just started. Ooh, so look at this bearish close on this 30-minute candle on the pound. So maybe this next one is going to be, it's been pretty slow. Maybe this next one's going to break it, and that'll give the second chance for the next entry. As well as, I think if gold breaks this high here, this thing's probably going to rip. Yeah, it's probably gonna run. I think I just took a nice little scalp there. GJ's breaking the low too. Wow, GJ's gonna melt. Oh, just as we expected. Wow. Let's see if it can make its full move though. It should clean the rest of this range up. So it created a little 1 minute support here. Let's see if that ends up breaking. Because this new 30-minute, like I would think that this 4-hour range gets filled here. This thing's being very picky here. Oh, gold ended up tapping into that level. Wow. Yeah. I bagged a few pips off of gold. Man, I'm really surprised GJ off of this. Yeah. I would think that this thing continues and just melts off here. So the way I manage these, like say on this low break, it's only dropped 3 pips. When it gets towards like 10, that's somewhere to cover some money. But if it starts to break back up, then you've got to manage the loser here. So what I'll do is I typically have a stop loss somewhere up in the range just to be safe, but I never let that full stop loss get hit. So I always close the trade early when it's running against me here. Always. I never hold on to a loser, but higher time frames now, the hourly looks like, it's pretty bearish. We got the clean 4-hour range with confluence. The 30 minutes pretty bearish, the 15 minutes bearish. So all you can do is execute on what you know, and then just manage the loser if it comes. That's it. That's all you can do. You keep your losses pretty small, and then just let your runners, put them at break even and let them run a little bit and bag the money and just be done for the day. Wow, respecting that 1 minute support there. See, I don't get too like worked up about the 1 minute because I have the higher time frame as confluence, but again, it is where the market begins, like a 1 minute to a 5 minute to a 15, 30. So that's why like I'm not trading off of the 1 minute. I have my whole overall idea, but I just kind of watch the 1 minute just because I'm scalping these things. So we're getting, oh, there we go. Big meltdown. That's nice. So now what I'll do, like I'll set this trade at break even, and I'll try to let it run down some more down towards my overall target down here. So it's at break even. If this thing wants to jack around and come back and hit me at break even again, so be it. But if not, we should see a nice trade continue to drop down into this level here and cover some money off of it and be done for the day. So now we've created another 1 minute low here. If that 1 minute low gets broken again, then we just continue down. That's the way a trend works. .30-minute looking good, 15-minute, everything's just going as planned. Okay, I closed my GJ trade for a scalp too. So that is going to be it for me. Wow, it shot up as soon as I closed it. That's literally it. So this day was actually a really choppy day. This was pretty choppy. So what happened here was we talked about GJ sells. We caught GJ sells in here on the break. We caught the GJ sells. We got hit at break even here. We were patient. We waited. Price broke again. Caught the sells again up here when it broke. It was up about, I think, like 5 pips here, which is pretty small for me, really small. But considering the day, you know, and I seen the price was just bouncing there, I went ahead and closed it. Now that's it. I don't sit and chase. I don't, none of that. I don't get all, you know, all worked up. I think this drop was probably like close to 10 pips, but after spread, you know, you don't get all that. And then we talked about gold too, right? We just spoke about gold on the 15-minute here. I said that on, well, it was on the 30-minute. I said when gold broke the high, we were going to run straight up into this next level from this 4 clean hour wick. So multiple trade ideas, 3 of them given today, 1 break even, 1 melted off, one just finished making its move. So, you know, whether you acted or you didn't act, no one's forcing you to, whether you're just here kind of watching, that's fine. No one's forcing anyone to do anything. Can't really complain about free. I wouldn't be surprised if gold breaks this. Probably see 1759 flat today. Another big clean clean wick here, another big clean area. So pretty, the gold price action was easy, right? That one flew up within a few, you know, once that thing broke the highs, it really ran 20 pips in 2 minutes. So that was clean. That's like my normal move. GJ though, on the other hand, that thing was a sucker twice today. At least we made break even on one, money on the next. Can't complain. Cannot complain. Talon dropping some fire emojis. Hey, this is nothing but value for real. Nothing but good value. Again, not I just it's not arrogance, but there's not a lot of people that can read a market like that. It's just you can't really find it out there, honestly. Most people suck at what they claim they do. Let me ask, is there anyone in here who is anyone in here who's catching or has caught any trades today? Then we talked about GJ sells once, we talked about GJ sells twice, we talked about gold buys, all worked out. Somebody caught gold, nice. Okay, that's cool. There we go. Somebody's making money. Oh, called gold and GJ. There we go. 27 ticks on gold. Nice. Caught GJ. All right. Got some people making a little bit of money in here. There we go. I think once gold breaks as high again on the 1 minute, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make another rip to the upside, honestly. There's a nice, another 4-hour clean range. I don't think I'm going to trade it, but I think I'm probably done. Caught the second GJ trade. I mean, yeah, a GJ put out, depending on where you got in, like 8, 9, 10 pips. With spread, you didn't make that, but if anything, you should have been at break even, like I explained. And if anything, then you should have got hit at break even. There should be no money lost. right? This trade was a break even. This trade, I explained break even. I explained when I was closing it literally on this 1 minute candle. And I'm glad I did. And that's it. Oh, look at gold breaking the highs again, like I said. That's already 4 pips there. 10-ish pips. If that's something you took, I would close out. I would set at break even right now and then start to look at closing some. Be done for the day. So 1760. Yeah, like I said today. Um, like I said today, this is another clean 4-hour range here as well. 14 or 1760 is, yeah, I that's doable. But again, if you are in the money on that, if you made, oh man, I just about thought something happened. If you are in the money on that, on gold or anything, any trade, pull some off of the table. Yeah, I can explain how I trade these ranges again. Yeah, there you go. That's nice. So gold broke this high again, like I explained earlier, and it's up again another 20 pips. Not bad. Oh, look at oil. Big melt off. Remember earlier in the beginning of this, and I said, looks like them daily lows when I get broken here. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. Not today, but the dollar's melting off. S&P's melting off. Gold and silver with the rallies today. Yeah, so somebody asked, can you explain how I trade the ranges again? Yeah, so what I do is just go to like a 4-hour time frame or a daily. I kind of just look at where the momentum's at. In this case, this morning on the pound sells, I saw that price action was to the downside. So what I did was I went in, I saw that coming into this morning, we had a support here sitting on the 4-hour. There was a support sitting here. I saw that there was support down here on the 4-hour. And then there's another support sitting down here for another opportunity that I'm not going to trade. But what happened was this morning, it was just this candle here. And this is a clean range to trade in. So that 4-hour range is pretty clean. And what happened here was on the 15-minute, I was watching the price action, broke this all down. This is saved. So when I drop it, you can go back through and watch it. But we saw how price was topping out here, created a lower high. And when the lows broke on this wick here, we took a short position here. Now on that short position, price melted off a little bit. We set it at break even, then it came back up, hit it at break even, and then took another short position when these lows here broke. When these lows broke, did the same exact thing. Price melted off again, like 8-10 pips. And on this candle here that was respecting this support, considering the trouble we had over here, I just bagged the money. right? So then on gold's 4-hour ranges this morning, everything was explained there as well. There was a high point here. We had a clean 4-hour range here. We had a clean 4-hour range here. And we have clean 4-hour range up here, which all three, this one got close to filling, didn't quite. There was a 15-minute this one broke pre-New York, so I wasn't interested. But the 30-minute candle here, this candle closed pretty bullish, and I said that when the next 30-minute candle broke its highs, it was going to fill that clean 4-hour range over here. So yeah, it was like a 20 pip, 22 pip range, pretty clean. Then I broke down the 1-minute breaks off of this high as well, which ran like 20 pips just about. So what software is this? This trading platform is just TradingView. It's just on the web. Yeah, I understand your fibs. I know how to use fibs. I used fibs for a long time, just high points to low points, given the specific trade retracement levels, all of that. You can share your chart though if you want. You can drop it and I can pull it up. So like for your fibs, you would have, from a low point here to a high point, you would have a support around the 5618, pretty significant number. Maybe a low here and a high here, 50% retracement again. So yeah, I don't trade. I don't use a lot of that stuff, honestly, especially when I'm scalping. Like I don't use it. I'm not gonna say what I think about which online broker is the best. I want everyone to do their own research on what they like or want to use and use it. See, now look at the pound dropping again. I wouldn't be surprised to see this level break and put a big push into this clean level here as well, this clean range. I'm not going to trade it though. I'm done trading today, just watching. Just watching for me. No more trading. We had some good opportunities today. Yep, the market knows exactly when you get greedy. After you've made your money, just let it be it. That's it. I'm like a robot though. I'm pretty good at just leaving it all alone. I don't really get suckered into all the nonsense. So yeah, I've talked about how I created my zones. This is recorded though, so once I drop it, you can go back through and watch it all. Again, I'm not trading this, but we're running into some 4-hour support here. If this breaks, there's a nice clean 4-hour range here that it could fill up. But again, it's not my time to trade. I'm done. No more for me. I'm cut off. Where do I drop the recordings? Um, I'll drop it in the Telegram channel, and then it's posted on the no risk website. It's yeah, I have a Discord channel. You guys all came from, yeah, it'll go on the YouTube as well. You guys will all get a hold of it. You'll know where it's at. I'll post it in that Telegram channel. Yes, pretty interesting morning. Pretty interesting. So yeah, any other questions at all? Anyone? If not, that's gonna be it for me today. If no one else has any other questions, the recording will be dropped. Everyone will be able to get a hold of it. So anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, I'm gonna have another live stream in the morning as well. So, but overall, couple GJ sells, some gold buys, all broken down. Can't get any more broken down than that. So yeah, I like charting on TradingView. It's way cleaner than anything else I've used. I personally like it. Way easier. Bob, send me that chart in the Telegram channel. I'll have a look at it there.